Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's Thursday morning. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with me this morning on your way to work or getting ready for work, whatever the case may be. I appreciate you being here. I'm happy to be here. It's Thursday. Week's getting there. The week is getting there. It seems like every time we get close to the weekend, you're like, you just can't wait for it to get here. Then it gets here. Another week's gone. And you're like, where'd the time go? But maybe that's just me. But anyway, it's 7:30 Eastern, which means I am live here just ahead of the Rumble lineup. Thanks again for being here. Rumble lineup all the way up till, what is it, 6 o'clock now? That you have uninterrupted free media, news, whatever you want, all the way through the day. So don't forget to hit that Rumble, the Rumble subscribe or follow button, rather, as it were. And you'll get live updates whenever your favorite peeps like myself go on and have a show. So don't forget to hit that follow button. You can also follow me at the Political Ray on X. I'm also on True Social rather, at Political Ray. It's early. Anyway, we've got the Trump hosted a roundtable at the White House in regards to the Antifa violence that's been taking place around the country, namely in Chicago and in Portland. And it was interesting. Independent journalists such as Nick Sorter was there, Andy Ngo was there, that Davis Court, who was assaulted by Antifa there in Portland, she was there. They told their stories. A couple of them called out the mainstream media that was there in the room as well. They didn't get to talk much, but we don't care anyway. They're full of lies, and we don't care to listen to them. Independent journalists is where it's at. It's who's taking over. It's all over Rumble. They're taking over on YouTube whenever possible until their speech gets censored and YouTube takes their videos down. They've done it to me. They don't like what we have to say, but we're here and happy to be here. So anyway, I have a full-time job. I do this on the side in the mornings just because I enjoy it. I like to come on here, inform people what I think, my personal perspectives, my opinions on things, and that's what I do. I wish that I could do this full time, dedicate all my time to it, but perhaps someday I will. But we'll see. Maybe we'll get there. With your help, I'm sure I could. But anyway, these people who go on the ground and report, I don't know what you call them, anything short of heroes, because look, they're doing what the mainstream media will not do. They don't go on the ground anymore. Why? Because they know these things tend to turn violent, especially when you have a group like Antifa. And I don't care. Look, you can tell me till you're blue in the face that they're not an organization. They are. I don't care what the mainstream media says. I don't care what left-wing politicians say about Antifa. It's an organized group. They're very well funded. You can't tell me when they have a flag, they have uniforms, they have chapters throughout the United States and the world. They have well-organized rallies or riots, as I would deem them. Sometimes they don't turn violent, but in most cases they do. I do not believe that they're not organized. I don't believe that there's not a leader. Perhaps they're staying in the shadows. My perspective on it, my opinion, there's no way that they don't have any kind of clear leadership. When you have chapters, who's in charge of the chapters? Who keeps the chapters running? Where's the funding coming from? You cannot convince me that it's not an organized group. It's just an idea. It's not a BS. I don't buy it. I don't. You guys can tell me what you think. But anyway, we've got the White House. Trump held a roundtable on this certain topic, and we're going to jump into this. Kristi Noem made it back to the White House for this roundtable. She was there, and she explained what she saw on the ground in Portland, and she explains a little bit about what. Oh my gosh, come on! She explains a bit about what was going on, and we'll get into it. I'm trying to shrink myself down here so I can get into this, and it's not wanting to work with me this morning. I told you I'm gonna get a different streaming software this weekend because I'm about fed up with this OBS. But anyway, if you have OBS, you can tell me. If you use it, let me know because I'm kind of getting tired of it. Seems like everything I try to do, it just messes up lately. So strongly considering just getting something else this weekend, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's go on with this. I got Kristi Noem. She's talking about this. She talks about her instances and what she saw on the ground, these kinds of things that ICE is actually doing to protect the country versus what the left is saying. They're Gestapo and they're zip tying children and innocent people and blah, 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 blah. 90% of what they say is not true. They'll take a fraction of the truth and roll with that and just tell you lies. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. For sure. I can call out the BS where I see it, and I'm going to do something on here that, you'll just see. You'll see. Check this out. You guys tell me what you think. This is Kristi Noem talking about the certain things going on with Antifa on the ground in Portland. Here we go.
I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets. While you talked about some of the stories of our ICE agents, our Border Patrol agents, how they have been attacked, how they have been shot at, injured, the damage that they've done, these leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up. We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again.
Look, Johnson and Pritzker, they can say what they want, but we all see the videos. Thanks, again, I'm going to go back to the independent journalists, but thanks to them, people like Nick Sorter and Davis Court, people who actually are on the ground in these places that are not safe for them. They've been attacked several times at this point. Davis Court, her attacker just got, nothing happened, even though she pointed out her attacker to police, Portland PD. They didn't do anything about it. Instead, they arrest people like Nick Sorter for simply being there and trying to report on what is happening. The reason they attack these people is because they don't want this information getting out there. And you have people, and I agree with her 100% when she says that people like Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, they're covering up what Antifa is actually doing in these cities. Does it surprise anybody? It shouldn't at this point. I've said for the last week or so now, if it's not obvious that these left-wing leaders in these deeply blue cities, if it's not abundantly clear at this point that they do not care about you, I don't know what to tell you. It's obvious to anybody that just can see what's going on. And again, thanks to people like Nick Sorter, we see what's happening. Because if it was up to the left-wing media, the mainstream media and the left-wing talking heads, you wouldn't see any of this. You wouldn't see what's happening on the ground. So that they can spin the narrative the way that they want to. Thank God we have people like Nick Sorter, independent journalists who are doing that job. Pam Bondi chimed in. Don't like her, but we'll take a look at what she says here.
We're not going to stop at
Oh, hold on. Let me bring it over. Come on, Ray. Get with it.
just arresting the violent criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels, we're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa. Destroy the entire organization from top to bottom. We're going to take them apart. Thanks to your bold leadership and the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is exactly what they are,
yes,
Americans
indeed.
will no longer tolerate their unhinged violence.
Don't like Pam Bondi. Everybody knows this. I think she spends too much time talking on Fox News than she does actually doing her job. I've said it 1,000 times at this point. But maybe, just maybe, this is what I'm hoping for, that when she went before the Senate committee hearing that she had, maybe she got a fire lit up under her. Perhaps. I would hope so. I would like to see actions. Actions speak louder than words. I know. She's talked and talked and talked, and we're kind of tired of hearing her talk. But again, I will just stress the fact that I just hope that maybe, because she clapped back. She had some good responses to the left wing politicians that were attacking her during that that Senate hearing, and she did pretty good. I'll give her credit where it's due, but again, I go back to the fact that she has talked a big game for a long time, and we have not seen action. That being said, again, I will go back. Hopefully, she got a fire lit up under her during that Senate hearing, and maybe she'll actually start doing some stuff instead of just talking about it. But we'll see. Only time will tell. I don't think it's going to happen, just given on her past, but I hope she changes her tune. Maybe she'll actually do something at this point. Maybe. I'll give her just a fraction of a benefit of a doubt, only because of what I saw in that Senate hearing. That's the only reason. Anyway, CNN's not too happy about the White House having a roundtable, and I'm gonna show you this. This is Aaron Burnett on CNN. Of course, they have to come out against this, and in every shape and form. Take a look at her explaining about Antifa's not a group. It's not. There's no leadership. It's not organized, and blah blah blah. The same talking points that they've been saying for years at this point. Antifa has been on the rise for a long time. You can say roughly in the limelight for probably roughly 10 years now or so. But they've been around for a lot longer than that. They've only just gotten more funding and more well organized as of late. Anyway, take a look at this person, Aaron Burnett on CNN. Yeah.
And Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security actually took that further.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous.
That's pretty incredible, right? Hamas has just been engaged in a 2-year war that we just announced the first stage of a peace plan to a few moments ago. And ISIS, these are incredible things to say. And obviously, I'm not going to sit here and defend anybody who considers themselves part of an Antifa movement, such that it is. But such that it is the...
Yes, she is. She's absolutely 100% going to defend them. I don't believe her when she says that. But anyway, we'll keep going.
Operative part of that sentence. Antifa is far from a major sophisticated terror organization like
BS.
Hezbollah, Hamas, or ISIS.
BS. Again, I will stress the fact they have an organization. They have a flag. They have a mission statement. They have uniforms. They have chapters in different states and around the world. So you're going to sit there and tell me that they don't have any kind of leadership in these chapters in different states around the world? I don't buy it. I don't. Where's their money coming from? They're funded from somewhere. Anybody? Bueller?
In fact, it's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, which have had national leaders, unlike Antifa. There is no organized hierarchy to the group. And
look, here's the difference between the Proud Boys and Antifa. One, everybody knows where the Proud Boys got their funding from. They started I don't know. I can't remember if it was a Give, Send, Go or if it was GoFundMe. Regardless of the fact it was crowdfunding. It's common knowledge. Everybody knows that. Nobody knows where the funding is coming from for Antifa. And I will go back to the fact, I don't buy the fact that these people say they're not organized. There's no leadership. Yes, there is. They have chapters. There's leadership within those chapters. You can't tell me that there isn't. Or because if there wasn't, then the chapters wouldn't exist. I'm speculating. Sure, yeah. But I think I raise a valid point. Maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it.
according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
Does anybody believe that? Does anybody believe that Antifa violence is rare? It happens every time they're at some place. The Officer Tatum was at a TPUSA event. I forget the college. Antifa showed up, tore down their awning and their table and destroyed everything, stole things, screamed obscenities, and pretty much chased them away. Now, Officer Tatum tried, to his credit, he tried to, fight back a little bit. probably wasn't a good idea, just because of the fact that he was wildly outnumbered. But guy's got balls. Give him that. Anyway, the organization that she was talking about, saying that it's very rare that Antifa has violence at their events. The SCIS. I want to show you this because this is important. This organization, which says Antifa is not violent, only in rare cases, as she says, is funded very well by left-wing contributors, namely Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Contributors of $250,000 and up. This is from the scis.org. They're well funded. I'm not saying, because I don't have any proof, I'm not saying this in the least, but you know what? Would it surprise me if Antifa was getting funded from this organization? Maybe, perhaps, because if you go to this is from their website. If you go to their website, they also have government funding. Government of the United States, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. They get funding from governments. Contributions of $250,000 and up. Would it surprise me if they're pushing out propaganda saying that the Antifa is not an organization, they don't have leadership, blah, 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 blah. The same talking points that they put out every single time. No, it would not surprise me whatsoever. But anyway, it's ridiculous. Anyway, Cam Higbee at this White House roundtable, he called out the left-wing media inside of the room, saying that they're cowards, because they are. They don't go to these events. They don't go on the ground and have reporters on the ground because they refuse to do it. Why? Because they don't want to show that stuff. They want to run with the narrative that they have that Antifa's peaceful. They're just anti-fascist. It's not an organization. It's an idea. They're not violent. They're there protesting peacefully. They don't want these independent journalists there so that they can run with their narrative. That's why they don't have people on the ground. And they're cowards. Because I can tell you right now, there's one of these people, I forget her name, but she was there. She was talking about the fact that she used to be with a news corporation in Seattle that was left-wing. She used to be an anti-Trumper. But when she got sent on the ground as a news correspondent, she saw the violence. She saw firsthand what TDS is and how these people act. She switched. She became a MAGA person. She became a Republican. And good for her. Anyway, I digress. Cam Higbee. Let me show you this guy. This was fantastic. He calls out the left-wing media here that is in the room. This was fantastic. Anyway.
Please, Cam.
Yeah, I've just got something very short. I'm attacked every time I do my job. When I leave my house to go to work, I am violently assaulted. I've had guns pulled on me. I've been bear sprayed. I've been beaten down. I've been almost killed. So my question for all of you is, how would you feel if every time you showed up to work, masked militants tried to kill you? Because that's how we feel. That's our lived reality. And you guys go and tell us that we're liars, the riots aren't that bad, right? I've never seen any of you guys on the ground. In fact,
see, he makes a very valid point. When you have the left-wing mainstream media, they come out and they say, these people don't know what they're talking about. They're independent journalists. They're not real journalists. They're lying. When the whole time is look, this is the Marxist playbook. Blame them for exactly what we are doing. They call independent journalists liars. They tell them they don't know what they're doing. They're not real journalists. Blah, 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 blah. They're the ones on the ground doing the real work. And the mainstream media, MSNBC, CBS, CNN, even Fox. I'm not a fan of Fox either. They're more conservative than what CNN, the rest of them are. But I still am not a fan of Fox. They put out some wild stories as well. Anyway, let's keep going.
in fact, I've never seen anybody representing the companies you work for on the ground. You guys come to us for interviews that never get published. Stop saying we're lying. We're not. We risk our lives every day to do the job that you guys are too afraid to do.
What network would you say is the worst, if I could ask?
He's not wrong. I agree with everything he said. I do. You can disagree, and that's fine. President Trump asks him, which outlet do you think is the worst? I think look, say what you want about President Trump. He doesn't like the media, and I don't either. So I'm fine with this.
Yes.
Oh man, that's a real tight spot.
Honestly, it's a simple question.
There's a lot of people in this pool, and I would say I'm not talking about Fox. I'm not talking about Newsmax or any outlet that resembles them.
I would lump Fox in with them. Just they're part of the mainstream media. Sure, like I said before, Fox does not go completely off the hinge, left wing, that kind of stuff. They're more conservative, sure. But they're still part of the mainstream media, and I don't trust them. They put out some wild stories, as I said before, but Newsmax is not like part of the mainstream. They're part of that new media, online, independent, that kind of stuff. Now they're getting pretty big, sure, but they've worked from the ground up. They started as independent journalism. So I trust Newsmax way more than I do MSNBC or CBS or even Fox or CNN. Anyway.
So I'll let you guys put the pieces together on who I'm exactly talking about.
Say, which network?
MSNBC for sure.
Oh, they're terrible. I agree. They're
CNN, probably close. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rate it that way. Yeah, MSNBC. That's Brian Roberts.
Yeah.
That he allows that to happen is a disgrace.
Absolutely.
And CNN is second.
Yeah. Second.
I would say CNN is not quite as bad as MS.
MSNBC is not really a news site anymore.
Oh, MSNBC is
no,
sick.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're sick.
Well, sir, it's
who
also
else?
just the stories that they publish about
I would say that about most left-wing mainstream media. I would say that about most of those organizations. They're not news organizations anymore. They're left-wing propagandists. You can disagree with me. Again, that's fine. I don't care. That's the way I think. That's the way I feel about them. They're propagandists. They put out their left-wing talking points. They don't care about the American people. They just care about the narrative that I think, my opinion, my perspective being they get their talking points from left-wing politicians. And then they are always in lockstep. You've seen the montages of these clips of mainstream media just regurgitating the same exact thing for weeks and months on end. Anyway, Katie Davis Court. This is the post-millennial reporter who was physically attacked by Antifa on the ground there in Portland. Pointed out her attacker to Portland PD. Did they do anything? Mm-mm. They sure went quick in a hurry, and they arrested Nick Sorter simply for him coming over and standing next to them, thinking that he was going to be protected from the violent people that were there trying to attack him. But anyway, she was attacked. Her attacker is still loose. No arrest. Now, there's a rumor I have read online that the attacker has been found and arrested, but I can't vouch that for sure. I hope it's true, but I don't know. Take a look at what she says, and look, every one of these people, they're spinning facts. They're on the ground. They see what's happening. Believe mainstream media or believe the people that are actually there on the ground trying to let the American people know exactly what is happening and telling the truth. It's your choice, I guess. I would tend to believe the people on the ground, but that's just me. I mean, call me crazy, but here we go.
Today, I am sitting here with a black eye and a concussion after being violently hit in the face with a metal pole while reporting outside the ICE facility just this past week. After the attack, I immediately went to three Portland police officers who refused to detain the suspect. I took the time to chase down the suspect in the streets, had her held for 35 minutes. I was waiting for Portland police to come, and they never came. Then that's what opened to my eyes to what this group is actually doing. I watched 20 Antifa militants help my assault suspect escape into an Antifa safe house that is 1 block away from the ICE facility.
Look, I've talked about this before. They're being housed. This apartment complex, I'm going to go ahead and just assume. No, I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to assume that this person that attacked her, they fled this person. She ran into this this housing complex where these Antifa militants are on shift. They're taking shifts. That's where they go to sleep, have a little bit of food, some water, whatever the case may be. They let her run back into this apartment complex, apartment building, whatever. And that was it. She pointed out her attacker to Portland PD. They didn't do anything about it.
And this safe house is where Antifa-affiliated protesters are conducting paramilitary operations. It's where they're arresting, they're showering, they're eating to continue this occupation. I have staked out this safe house and have observed shift changes. This group is highly organized. It is being funded through mutual aid groups, and they have no plans of stopping. Residents living across the ICE facility have been held hostage by Antifa. They're begging for federal intervention. The city refuses to help, and they want you, President Trump, to come in and restore law and order.
We all remember the video that I showed, the woman coming out. Don't know what time it was. It was dark after the sun had gone down. This was during the middle of the summer. So it could have been early on in the night, maybe 9 or 10. Could have been 2 in the morning. But this lady came out, walking with her cane, just telling people they need to be quiet. She lives right there. I believe her when she says that people in this area, the citizens who live there, they're tired of this. June 7th. I know I've said it a million times. Maybe I'll get it embezzled into your brain. June 7th is when this started in Portland. It's coming to a head. This crap is going to stop. Thankfully, look, I'm happy that they're having this roundtable. It brings focused attention on what is going on now. About a month ago, yes, Tom Homan said that they were going to be going there, taking care of the situation. President Trump came out and said, this is the first I'm hearing of it, but we're going to take care of it. That was over a month ago now. We're still waiting. I don't want to see this. Antifa should not be laying siege to that ICE facility on a nightly basis in Portland since June 7th. Shouldn't be a thing. Arrest every single one of them. I'm done with it. I don't even care anymore. And you want to talk about, oh my gosh, they're getting sprayed with pepper balls and blah. So what? June 7th. Months. This has been going on. I don't care anymore. They shouldn't be there. They're impeding ICE operations. They're blocking traffic going in and out of this facility. They're endangering the officers, the ICE officers, whether it be Molotov cocktails, fireworks, lasers being pointed into their eyeballs, whatever the case may be. These officers are in danger on a nightly basis because of the Antifa violence in that area. And it should have been quelled a long time ago. Arrest every last one of them. I don't care anymore. They shouldn't be there at this point. If you want to look, and the left coming out, these are just peaceful protesters. BS. Look, there's a complete and utter difference, and if you don't know the difference, whatever. There's a difference between standing off to the side, holding signs. Look, if Antifa had been there since June 7th, holding up signs on the side of the road, across the street, holding up signs, even chanting, whatever, fine. That's a peaceful protest. You have that right in America to peacefully assemble and protest. That's fine. If that was taking place, if they wanted to stay out there since June 7th, then fine. I don't care. You have that right. You have, as under the First Amendment, you have the right to peacefully assemble and protest. That's not what's happening. Again, fireworks, Molotov cocktails, lasers being pointed into officers' eyeballs, which can cause blindness. These officers are in danger on a nightly basis because of these Antifa thugs. Because that's what they are. Stuff them in a cell and let them stay there. Yes. I agree, Ryan. 100%. I don't care anymore. months, over 100 days. It's last time I checked, it was 117 days straight. When's enough enough? I don't care. Throw them all in jail. I don't care anymore. They shouldn't be there. Again, if they were peacefully protesting, that's one thing, but that's not what's taking place. Anyway, a little bit of a rant there, but that's okay. That's okay. You guys tell me what you think. Look, you guys can let me know. It's ridiculous. Chicago's the same thing. Now, Chicago hasn't been as prominent as Portland. I've been talking about Portland for it's been a while now. I agree. Yes. The time for diplomacy is over. It's time for action. Yeah. Look, these people, and I think having this roundtable at the White House, I think it shines the light on this, and rightfully so. I've been screaming about this for a long time now. Portland needs to be taken care of. Until you quell the violence. Look, again, I was arrest every last one of them. I don't care. They shouldn't be there. They're not peacefully protesting, despite what the mainstream media will tell you. They are well funded. They are an organization. They're not just an idea, and they do have leadership. If they didn't, the chapters wouldn't exist. You can't convince me that if an organization has chapters throughout the U.S. and the world, that those chapters would exist without leadership. It's not. I don't believe that. There's tasks. There's memberships that are given out. You cannot tell me it's just an idea. It's not an organization. I call bullshit. Anyway. Yeah. Chicago's no different. Chicago's last night there was a march through downtown Chicago. Here's my thing about this, and I'm going to say, I've probably said this before. I'm going to say it again. Who the fuck are all these people? This is a Wednesday night. It's Thursday. This was last night. Wednesday night, the middle of a work week. None of these people not have jobs. This many people? Here's my thought, and this is just speculation. This is whatever you want to call it. Is it chapters or is it cells? Call it what you will. I've seen it. They're called chapters, but you could call them cells. I wouldn't disagree. Anyway, how do you get this many people on a Wednesday night to come out and march down the streets? Again, this is just speculation on my part. I'm not there. I don't have an in, as it were. This is, again, speculation. It's Wednesday night. These people are paid. These are paid protesters, agitators, whatever you want to call them. I believe they're paid. Again, speculation. I don't have any evidence to support that. It's just speculation. But you cannot tell me that these people just on a Wednesday night, they have nothing better to do on a Wednesday. You have work the next day. Don't you? Unless you're being paid to be there. Wouldn't you take some PTO? Take the day off the next day? I don't believe that this was organic. You have printed signs. There's no way that this is organic. This didn't just happen. This is paid. I think these are paid organizers. I think they're getting money somehow, some way. I don't know for sure. Again, just speculating. You guys tell me. It's insane.
Make some noise!
Here's the thing too. This is something that bothers me with these protests, these people that come out and they march or they protest or whatever you want to call it. How come I understand being proud of your heritage or where you came from, yada yada. That's fine. But you're in America. If you love America and you want to stay in America, why wouldn't you wave the American flag instead of burning it or stomping on it or whatever these people do? I don't understand. Look, if you love that country, look, this person waving their country's flag of their country of origin, waving that flag. Okay, Be proud of where you came from. I don't have a problem with that. But you're in America. If you think it's so fantastic, then why are you here? This just side note, I guess. There's one American flag. Look at this crowd. Printed. These are printed signs. There's one American flag. Justice for what?
What do we want? Legalization. What do we want? Legalization. What do we want it? Now.
You want legalization? I'm sorry to tell you, if you're here illegally, you don't get that. You broke the law when you came into this country. Abolish ICE. Why? So you don't get deported? Do it yourself. I'm pretty sure the $1,000 is still on the table. You get paid. You get a free flight back home, and they pay you to just go home, to go back where you came from. There was that video yesterday of Kristi Noem that put out, she was talking to somebody that ICE had arrested, a child molester, a pedo, in this country illegally, had come in 5 times illegally in the last 7 years. She told him you could have self-deported and maybe had a chance to come in. He probably wouldn't have because he's a child molester and he's pedo, but besides, my point being, you get paid. You get a free flight back home. You self-deport, you get all kinds of benefits, and you get a chance to come back into the country. If you get caught by ICE or ICE officials, whatever the case, you have 0 chance of coming back. That was the policy that was put out. So you know what? I don't have sympathy for people who have come into this country illegally and then expected to stay. Sure, you can blame it on President Biden and his open border policies. Sure. Doesn't negate the fact that you broke the law when you came in. I'm going to go back for just, I don't think that these people even understand what they are protesting. I'm sure everybody else has seen other videos that people have done when people actually just go on the ground and talk to people and they ask them, what are you protesting? Well, we're protesting ICE. Okay, why? They don't know. They get handed a sign when they walk out there, and then they just, they stand there with their sign, or they say something, or whatever the case may be. They don't know what they're doing. Anyway, this sign here on the right says, stop the Trump agenda, defend and expand immigration rights. I said this yesterday, and I don't give a 2 flips about what the Democratic leadership says about this certain subject. I am done with the whole, they're immigrants, they have rights, they're I don't give a crap about the undocumented thing. They're illegal aliens. You can change the verbiage all you want. You can call them undocumented. Fine. I'm not going to do it. They're illegal aliens that came into this country illegal. And despite what Jasmine Crockett and AOC will tell you, that just because they came in here illegally doesn't mean they're criminals. The very definition of coming in illegally, breaking the law, makes them a criminal. Anyway, defend and expand immigrant rights. No. No. If you're here illegally, look, again, I will say, despite what the left talking heads and politicians will tell you, I don't care. You can say all you want that anybody, they say anyone in this country is afforded rights. No. You broke the law when you came into this country illegally. You don't get American rights. You're not an American citizen. You don't have the right to our rights. You don't have it. You want to come here? Fine. Do it legally. coming the right way. Until that happens, you don't get awarded the rights that we have in this country. You can call me heartless, you can call me rash, I don't care. I'm done with this. I'm done with it. Stand with Palestine. What is that? And U.S. aid to Israel. Stop police crimes. Look, in Portland and Chicago, Portland specifically, I don't know about Chicago. I haven't seen a lot about Chicago police officers not enforcing the law and arresting people, but in Portland specifically, because of people like Nick Sorter and, Katie Davis Court, who have been on the ground, we know that Portland they're arresting independent journalists versus violent criminals on the streets. We've seen it. It's becoming plain as day to everybody at this point. So stop police crime. Yeah, I would agree with that. Tell them to do their fucking job and stop siding with Antifa and terrorists. No kings in America. I still find it funny that they're rolling with the narrative that Trump thinks he's a king when that was the biggest troll I've ever seen, and they're still running with the fact that we don't have kings in America. He's no king. Well, no shit. He knows that. It was a troll. He did that because, look, he put that post out because he knew it would rile people up. And oh boy, did it. And they're still talking about it. So possibly the biggest troll ever, I would say.
Shut it down! If we don't get no justice, we don't get no justice. If they don't get no peace, then they don't get no peace. If we don't get...
Look, all these signs, these are printed. Do you think that they got these signs individually? No. Look, just based off of the signs that say the exact same thing, and there's hundreds of them, perhaps. Maybe. I might be exaggerating, sure. You can't tell me. There's signs upon signs. We stand with J.D. Pritzker. That one's actually looks homemade. The rest of these are printed signs. You can't tell me that this was a paid protest, organized, whatever, march, whatever you want to call it. On a Wednesday evening, when people have work the next day, you cannot. I'm not convinced that this just happened. It didn't.
If we don't get no justice, then they don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, Donald Trump be fucking fired. Donald Trump be fucking fired.
No one is illegal on stolen ground. Look. I have an argument to that fact, but I'm not going to go down that road right now. That's a discussion for a different day. I had that debate with somebody just a week or two ago about that specific topic. But I'm not. Look, maybe one day I'll talk about that on here, but I'm not going to do it right now. We're getting short on time. I still got to go to work, so let's keep going with this.
People will take you down.
We're going to bring this up a little bit. There's the end of it. It's pretty big. I mean, sure. There's the PD making sure nothing gets out of hand. Thankfully, they're there. Maybe they're better than Portland PD. I would hope so. But that's I have seen the Chicago. I don't know if it was the chief, but he's been pretty pissed off about things going on, and yeah, we all remember there was the I didn't cover it specifically, but there was those two cars that got rammed, the ICE officials' vehicle that got rammed from behind, and then these people had guns. They shot at these people. Now they're out. They're out of jail because they're deemed not a flight risk. It's total BS. You guys can go look at that story. ICE vehicle rammed from behind, and then they had to shoot the suspects. There was two of them. Both got shot. Non-fatal. They got released. Judge let them go. Yeah, doesn't make sense to me either. But they're out on the streets again. We'll just have to wait and see if they do anything else to try and kill ICE officers. That's what they were trying to do. They tried to box them in with their vehicle. They had firearms, and they were trying to kill ICE officers. But now they're back on the streets. Why? Corrupt left-wing policies that let these people back out on the streets, cashless bail, defunding police, that kind of stuff. Anyway, we'll take a look at this story from the Post Millennial, and this will round it out for us today. Anarchist website targets ICE agents, posts blueprints of Chicago facilities. As if it couldn't get any worse. Now you've got blueprints of the ICE facilities going out to the general public for what? For attacks, so that people can, have a plan of action. You've got people who are actively putting out posts, and you got apps out there now where you can dox and release information on ICE officers, and, the left is still wondering why they wear masks. Well, because it's the rhetoric that you have pushed out that made these people targets to left-wing violence. Because of your rhetoric. I strongly, 100% believe in the fact that if it was not for the left-wing talking points and the rhetoric that they use, you'd still see some violence, but it wouldn't be to this extent. And they talk about, we got to bring the temperature down, blah, blah, blah. Well, you first. You first. Anyway, federal law enforcement bulletins have warned that immigration and customs enforcement agents and facilities in Chicago are being targeted by an anarchist website. It's a good question. It's a very good question. How did they get blueprints to a federal building? It's a very, very good question. Is that I don't know if that's like something that you can go to the library and pick up. I don't know. I don't know if it's public information, if you can do that or not. I don't know. I would imagine that since it's a federal building, you're not allowed to get those. So maybe there's something, if it is illegal, maybe there's something they could do as far as like going after the website, finding out who runs the site, and then going after them. I don't know. I would hope there's something that they could do, but the Center for Internet Security issued an assessment that revealed that at least 4 ICE facilities in Chicago have been surveilled, with detailed layouts, diagrams, and photos posted on the anarchist website. The site also published photos of ICE agents, including their names, faces, and badge numbers. And you wonder why they have to wear masks. All the left-wing talking heads say they shouldn't be wearing masks. They should be able to show who they are and blah blah. Their families are being threatened. These people are stupid, or they're either stupid, they're ignorant, or they don't care about their constituents. I would say all of the above. There's been an increase in attempt to gather and anonymously share and gather information online and publish it even on websites publicly available about these activities, explained Jason Perry, a cybersecurity professional at Lewis University, according to ABC 7 Chicago. Earlier this month, excuse me, the Department of Homeland Security issued a separate intelligence bulletin advising ICE personnel of a rise in threats from domestic violent extremists. This comes after an ICE facility in Texas was the subject of a shooting carried out by an anti-ICE gunman. ICE agents have reportedly been facing more than 1,000% increase in assaults. I don't doubt that statistic. I don't. Given the violence that we have seen on ICE officers, agents, I don't doubt that number. Chicago has recently seen several violent incidents targeting federal immigration authorities. Last week, Border Patrol officers were ambushed when individuals rammed their vehicles into federal agents. One of the suspects, identified as Miramar Martinez, was armed and had a history of doxing federal agents. These 2 individuals we're working up to this. On Monday, federal agents arrested a gang leader accused of offering bounties to capture and kill a senior immigration officer involved in Operation Midway Blitz, an ongoing immigration enforcement effort in Chicago. The suspect, Juan Espinoza Martinez, an illegal immigrant from Mexico, allegedly placed a $10,000 bounty on Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. I hope I said that right. Again, the left is saying they don't need to wear masks. Yeah, they do. They're being targeted. They're being hunted, as Crowder would say. And I agree. These people are being hunted. They're actively being doxxed. Their families are being threatened. And if you think that they wouldn't do anything to their families, then I don't believe that. I think they would. It's insane. It's getting crazy. Look, these two individuals in Chicago that they had every intention of killing ICE agents. I don't disbelieve that at all. They had every intention of killing those people. Why? The left-wing narrative. Tell me otherwise. It's only getting worse. It's going to get worse. Until, I say the White House having this roundtable, it was a good thing. Because it's only going to get worse. The violence is escalating. You've got assassination attempts on political figures. You've got people ramming ICE vehicles in attempts to kill them. You have doxing taking place. You have Antifa out there. There's videos of Antifa up against the fence to these ICE facilities telling ICE officers to take off their masks because they're going to dox them and come after their families. If you think that they wouldn't, they will. They will. Anyway, I got to wrap it up there. I got to start getting my butt ready for work. I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me this morning. On your way to work or getting ready for work, whatever the case may be, I do appreciate it. Don't forget, you can hit that follow button. You'll get notified whenever I go live. But in most cases, it's Monday through Friday, 7:30 Eastern, just ahead of the Rumble lineup. Barring some kind of illness, I was sick on Monday, so I do apologize for that. But perhaps one day I get a little bit bigger. Enough you hit that follow button for me. I can have somebody fill in for me, that kind of thing. But for now, we just do it when we can. So anyway, I do have to start getting ready for work. Again, thanks so much for hanging out with me this morning. It's been fun for me. It always is. Anyway, if anything, I get to complain into a camera. So I enjoy it. Thanks again for hanging out with me. I hope everybody has a fantastic Thursday. Weekend's almost here, everybody. It's coming. So don't hang in there. We'll get there. But anyway, again, thanks for hanging out. You can follow me on X at The Political Ray. I'm also on True Social at Political Ray. I'm trying to get better at posting on there. I'm getting there. We'll see. But thanks again. Hope everybody has a fantastic Thursday. Take care of each other. God bless, and stay safe out there. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Thanks again.